Welcome to Real People, Real Matters. This is Diana Tulchinsky with Nikki and Dan of Onomoli Jewelry in Glenview. Nikki, please tell me about your father, of how he started a factory in Thailand.
Well, my father came from China, and he escaped the camp, the Japanese labor camp, and his mother sent him and his brother to Thailand. And he was working with his stepbrother, and my father learned the trade from his brother, but he exceeded his brother even, because first he was just an errand boy. So they sent him to sit and just pick up the pieces from goldsmith. And he would just, instead of just sitting there learning nothing, he just watched them and he asked them questions. And eventually he knew the whole process of how to make jewelry, what people have to do. And that's when he later on got a job as a salesman. And he did such a good job that his boss made him a manager.
Wow.
He was a very knowledgeable guy, and he had a good sense of design, because when he used to live in China, he was actually an artist by blood, just by nature. So people would hire him to paint the temples. And actually he was a farmer, but he was the best at painting. So then he got to paint temples. And after that, he and my mother met and got married. But the reason why he started the business is because his boss said, we have all these people in Thailand, the GIs and people that tourists, they would come to Thailand. There was nothing to buy except a few carved elephants or something, And then we have all these gemstones that are found in Thailand. So and they come and they buy gemstones, but they don't know what to do with it. They just drag home all these gems. So the boss and him decided, why don't we make some jewelry so that they can just put it on and wear them? So then they're like, yeah, why don't we do that? So then he produced a batch of sample first. And at the time, my mother, they decided she would be the one carrying it to the shops to show it to the shop owners. At first, they didn't even want to talk to her. They just put her in a corner somewhere and say, okay, we'll talk to you when we have any time. And then at the end of the day, the guy would finally talk to him and say, well, just show me something. And she showed him, and he's like, I don't like this, but I'll buy one, and we'll put it out and see what happens. Then she got a phone call just like a week later, and he's like, come back here, I want to see some more. Next time he bought 10 pieces.
Oh my.
And then next time he bought 50, and it went on and on. And in the meantime, she went to different shops, and everyone did the same thing to her. Before we knew it, we were selling to everyone in Bangkok for all these tourist places. So that was the beginning. And from there on, we became bigger and bigger, and then people from other countries started to notice us. So we have designers, we have stores like Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Harry Winston. They would order from us because we would make samples, and they would come in, they would order it, and we would put their brand on it. So they could order 50, 100 of, 100 sapphire pieces, 100 rubies, 100 emerald, things like that.
How was the princess ring or the cut? How did you start that?
That was the beginning. Way back in the beginning, we want to feature all the gemstones that find in Thailand. But we have so many, so we make this thing that the stone will go around, and they make like 3 layers, and then on top we screw it onto the bottom. And the foreign people came and they say, oh, what a unique looking ring.
What university did you end up going to?
I went to Vassar
Vassar.
College.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually I applied to 7 sisters, so I applied to 7 places, but I add one more. I applied to Harvard also.
Oh, and you
but
got
I
a
didn't
scholarship.
get in. I didn't get in. I got in the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to go, actually I was going to go to Wellesley, but one of my friends said, well, why do you want to go to Wellesley? You should go to Vassar. I'm like, why? And then she's like, well, because of all the choices you show me, Vassar is the only place with boys.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, well, I don't care. But she's like, you're going to regret it, so you should go.
Yes. How did you meet your husband?
I met him at Vassar. My 3rd year, junior year.
Oh. And you also have a gymnology certification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after Vassar, I went to GIA. That's the school that teach you gems and diamonds, and I got a certificate from there. But then later on, I also went to learn manufacturing, and that's also GIA, but that was, so the first one was in New York City, the second one was in LA.
Oh, nice. And Dan, how did you get started at Onomoli Jewelry?
Well, I was working at Culligan 26 years ago, and Alan, my cousin, Nikki is married to my cousin Alan, and they were going to open up a retail shop here. So they were kind enough to ask me if I would come and sell jewelry for them. And it was an opportunity I did not want to pass up, and 23 years later, I'm still here.
Dan, please tell me your activities or duties at Onomoli Jewelry. Do you set stones or process?
No, I don't do any of the setting. We have goldsmiths that do that from us. But we have to take all the repairs in, and we have to check everything over before it goes out and when it comes back to make sure everything is right, the quality, and we have to check all the stones over too. And if someone were to bring in a diamond, we have to plot the diamond, which is, we have a microscope to show the customers the diamond at 10 times magnification. So we mark the inclusions and put it on a piece of paper and give them a copy of it. So when they come back, we put it under the microscope so they can see that it's the same stone that they brought, because it's so important that they know that it's the same stone that they're picking up that they brought in.
And how do you tell, like in education, like in educating customers, how do you tell between if they bought it through like a third vendor that has some fraud, or how do you tell between the quality of the diamond? Is there like a grade connected to it?
There is grading, and there's, we look at it through 10 times magnification. If it's, we look at the inclusions that are in the stone, and inclusion is anything that keeps the diamond from being perfectly clear, and the severity of the inclusions in a stone, which is graded from internally flawless to VVS, very, very slightly included, and VS, and then SI, which is slightly included. And we're trained to, it's our opinion of what the clarity of the stone is. And then as far as color, we have a color master that we compare it to find the color of the stone.
So who does the design and who does the cutting of the diamonds and the placement?
Yeah, well, design, I usually do design. Mm-hmm. At my factory in Thailand, we have my father, when he was still alive, he did a lot of design. He did most of the design, but I help him a little bit.
And basically, tell me about service merchandise. Like, why is your jewelry considered to be top-notch quality?
Yeah, we work with service merchandise a lot. That was one of our biggest customers way back when. And they were very inexpensive people. So, but we still do a lot of, we try our quality control. Our quality control consists of 3 layers. When it's first casting and we do the filing and all that, that's the first one. The second one is when they set the stone, and the third one after the whole thing is plated and everything is the third one. And if it doesn't pass one of the quality control. We have to send it back, start over, and that's why our quality is really the best. Even if we got paid very little by service merchandise, we still do the same thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we always make sure that the quality is always top notch. And service merchandise knew that also. So when they had us working for them, they were selling so much jewelry. But one day what happened is they have the meeting with the stockholders, and stockholders complained that they were making too little money out of jewelry, because that was actually their best and the most, they sell that more than anyone else. So then they decided to not using us anymore. They went to another manufacturer that's a lot cheaper, but that's because they have no quality control.
Oh, yes.
So the stones started to fall off, you know,
Oh, yeah, and then
the gold is
restored.
not up to the
Yes.
standard. So people started to notice that the quality has gone down, and so then they stopped buying. Within a few years, service merchandise actually went out of business. And that shows you that quality is everything, you know. And we still do the same with our jewelry here, you know, we make sure that quality is number one. And service
Yes.
is number two.
What's the difference between a lab diamond and a diamond that's harvested?
Yeah, lab diamond, lab grown is actually diamond. They're real diamonds. They're made out of, in nature, in lab, it's the same thing. They use carbon, and they use heat and pressure and turn it into diamonds. And so if you test lab grown and nature grown, it will test the same. It's the same, it's diamonds. It's like you have, you know, synthetic rubies and rubies, they're the same also, or sapphire, you know, they're the same, they are made of the same substance. The only difference is we make it or the nature made it. So lab grown is very hard to tell the difference between lab grown and the diamond from the ground. I took a class with GIA actually when it first started about 20 years ago. That it actually started a long time ago by GE. GE was the first company that came up with it. And they were growing diamonds for the use in manufacturing other things, you know, like because diamonds are really strong. They would encrust the tools with diamonds to cut the ground or, you know, for any hard manufacturing. But the diamonds weren't really pretty. And then later on, people discovered that they can grow diamond nice and big by adding nitrogen to
Nitrogen,
it.
yes.
So the first lab grown was actually mostly yellow diamonds. And GIA pointed that out too, that it was usually yellow diamonds. And the only way you can tell at the time is by tilting the diamond a certain degree under the microscope, and you can see the growth line on the diamond. It's still very, very hard, especially a really small one. But later on now, because lab grown has become so big, a big business, they actually invented a machine that you could put the lab grown on and will alert you to the fact that it's lab grown.
And Nikki, please tell me about the color in stones from Thailand. Like, how is that different from American quality?
Actually, what it is because I'm from Thailand, so my specialty is color stones, because we find a lot of color stones, the important one in Thailand, especially rubies and sapphires. They come from Kanchanaburi and Jantaburi, and those are all in Thailand. And so at a very early age, I was trained by my parents in color stones. And a lot of American people don't know a lot about color stones. They just want to buy just diamonds. And color stones were just not, you know, in the budget. But color stones actually more interesting than diamonds. When I went to GIA, we spent 2 weeks learning about diamonds, and that's it. I got my certificate for diamonds. But color stone, the rest of it was like 6 months training. 2 weeks for diamonds, the rest is color stones, because there's so many color stones out there in the world that people don't know anything about. So, but I love color stones. Color stones are much more complicated than diamonds, actually, in terms of identification and to tell the difference between good quality and bad quality. So if anyone needs to know anything about color stone, they should come here, because I know more than anyone in the business, I would say, especially in Chicago.
Nikki, please tell me about the color of these diamonds and sapphires.
These are some of the pieces that we have here. This is sapphire from Ceylon or Sri Lanka, wherever you call it. The blue is different than the other blue. In fact, the sapphire, people used to tell me, oh, blue, dark blue sapphire is the best. No, it isn't. The blue color has to be blue. Blue like dark blue, but with the liveliness, with the beautiful color of blue, but not dark blue, not like ink blue. Sapphire, a lot of people don't know that sapphires come in any color, from white all the way to black.
Oh, black, and this is a pink
But
rose.
pink sapphire is also popular. It's beautiful. But even pink, it goes from very light pink to really bubblegum pink.
Is this a princess or an engagement, diamond that's
This is actually more like emerald cut.
emerald cut? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you get, actually, people now get engagement ring in different color stones also. Sapphire is one of the more popular ones. This is emerald from Colombia.
Oh, very green, very nice.
It is smaller but very high quality.
Mm-hmm.
Emeralds are, the good quality one should look like this.
So it's like a square cut?
This is an emerald cut, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but a little more squarish.
How do you tell the quality? Is it like there's sparkle or
The way it
the color?
sparkles, but the reason why it's sparkly is because it doesn't have a lot of inclusion. Emeralds always have inclusion. If emeralds, the one that don't have any inclusion, don't buy it.
Oh, it's a bad quality.
Most
yes.
likely that's not real.
Oh, yes.
No,
yes.
there's a chatham emerald, which is not real emerald.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing about emerald. That's one thing that, like color stones, first of all, you have to verify that they're real. And most people don't know how to tell it. But because I was educated by GIA, I can tell you scientifically what I'm looking for in color stones. This is emerald from Muso mine, and
Where's the Muso mine?
it's in Colombia also.
Colombia, yes.
But Muso mine produce unusual emerald that they're so clear.
It
For
is.
emerald, they're very clear, even if they have some inclusion. Most emerald you see out there are very included, to the point that you see like it's kind of milky. But this one is not milky at all. The reason why Muso mine emerald is the best, really, we believe it's the best emerald in this world, is because the way the emerald grow, the color green will be on the side. In the center will be intersecting black lines going like that. They have to cut in between this black line, and it comes from the sideway of the stone, the way it grows. So you see that when you look at this inclusion, you see that the inclusion is straight line.
Going up, yeah.
Yes, straight line.
And is that an antique or a classic cut?
This is also an emerald cut. Emerald cut, emerald. That's the most popular cut for emerald. This is a ruby, but it's an unusual ruby. It's a Cabochon ruby. So Cabochon rubies can look milky like this, and
It's so pretty, though. It's very pink, and it shows the quality, and the diamonds are around. What type of cut is that?
the diamonds are regular double cut diamonds, or classic cut. But what unusual about rubies is this one is unusually large. Most
Yes, it
rubies
is.
don't get this large, and with that color, for sure this is Burmese rubies.
Glenview area?
Oh, we loved it here.
Glenn-
Then
Yeah, the North Shore
yeah.
people, they're just so wonderful. They're so good to us, and they're so nice with the reviews that they give to us. And we just appreciate every one of them that comes through the store. We try to create a friendly, pleasant atmosphere here.
When did you move to the Glenview area, or how long has the store been opened?
23 years.
23 years, the Onomoli store, yes.
Yes.
Nikki, please tell me, why did you establish the store in Glenview out of all the North Shore locations?
Actually, what's funny is that this shop is my retirement shop, really, because when I came here from Thailand, I didn't really need to work anymore. I actually did have enough money to just retire, but I wanted to raise my children in a nice community. And the store is right across the street from the school over there. So my kids were still young, and I just want to be able to run over there if I need to. And I come to love this location. It's so peaceful, and I love the people. Very kind, very nice people. And that's the reason why.
Oh, it is a great reason, being close to the kids.
Raising the kids and being close to relatives, you know, like him. My in-laws, they all live here. So it's great to be, you know, it's just a nice place for me. I want to just, my friends often come from relatives and customers. Customers, we really appreciate them, and we become friends with many of them.
And please tell me, how do you like the school system, the park districts, as a parent and
It's
business
wonderful.
owner?
We had the best teachers. We have a very nice park district. In fact, we used to have the airport, the military airport, and they turned it into shopping malls and, you know, a lot of homes there. It's now very in the Glen. The Glen is wonderful. If you haven't been there yet, you should. There's a park and lakes.
Yes. Please tell me, do you have any advice for high school seniors that want to get into diamonds or sales or even art? What type of advice would you give them?
Well, first you have to really love what you do, you know, because with gems, not everyone actually can tell the difference. So you have to have good eyes for colors. Mm-hmm. And you have to design, often you're born with it. But I was born in into the business. But my father, also it's because my father was born with the talent, so
skills to become
and
an artist.
yeah, so he was born with it. But if you feel that you're born with it, if you're an artist in your heart,
Yes.
you might want to look into it. First, I would say if you want to learn about gems, you should go to GIA. It's a very good school. All the gemologists go there. Yes, and you should maybe try working in the store to see if you like.
That's great advice.
Well, we have a lot of young kids coming in looking for engagement rings, and Nikki is just so good at educating and informing them, and she takes her time and she's very patient with them to explain how to buy a diamond, whether they're going to buy it from us or not. She's very good at that.
Oh, great. And tell me about your, do you have any endeavors to even open up more stores or?
Oh, no.
No.
I'm too old, but I like to educate people. It's part of a fun thing that we do here. So we would talk about, like, when you buy diamond, what is 4Cs, you know, and why do you need to know it? And because the diamond price really depends on the 4Cs. So, you know, the clarity, the color, cut, carat weight, all those are the reason why some diamonds are more expensive than the others. And when you understand that, then you understand why you shouldn't be buying the cheapest diamonds that you see out there, because maybe that's the reason why it's cheap is because it's not good. So I would go through that with them, and I would spend quite a bit of time. You know, I would show them the charts, and we look at Rappaport, which is the diamond reports together. I would explain to them that, You need to first identify the diamonds and make sure that if it has a certificate, everything matches with the certificate. And that's what we do. We make sure that all the diamonds that we show to the customers are actually match the certificate. And we prefer GIA certificate anyways, because they are schools, so they're not gonna lie. Some other certificates sometimes are not correct. And we've seen that so many in the past.
Some fraud that happens
Right.
between.
And then again, even when the diamonds have certificates, they're not equal. For example, if you say SI1 stone, which is SI1 stands for slightly included, one SI1 could be 10 times better than the other SI1. The reason being is that they count inclusion. Let's say if one stone have 5 inclusion and the other stone have 5 inclusions, but where are the inclusions and what kind of inclusions? And that's so important. So you can't just say, oh, I buy SI1, that's it, I'm good. First you have to see, well, is it the right certificate? Is a certificate show you, where it is, and is it true? If you buy a stone that have a black carbon smack in the middle, it should be cheaper than the one that have the same, but smaller, clear inclusion on the side. And that's our job, is to make sure that, what you get the best stone for whatever amount of money you have.
Oh, great. Thank you for your education.
It has to be pretty to your eyes.
Yeah.
You have to see it in person.
So when you buy it from online, you don't see the stone, you don't know what you get.
And a lot of people on Amazon switch stones or do something strange. Like, you don't see the quality unless you actually feel it.
Right.
Well, yeah, you have to see the stones, and what she does is she brings in multiple stones so you can compare like diamonds to each other, so you can see which ones sparkle more or which ones are to your liking.
Also the
So she
cut.
does that. And the cut is very
a
important.
lot of people don't know what cut means. But cut is the proportion of the diamonds. And they go by the Tulchinsky proportion. He was a mathematician. Over 100 years ago, he came up with the formula of what is the correct way to cut the diamonds to get the maximum brilliancy. And some stones that are inexpensive is because it's usually too heavy a stone, meaning the bottom is very long, extended long, and that makes the stone much less beautiful and also much smaller. So when you get a stone 1 carat, let's say it should measure 6.5 millimeters. If you get 6 millimeter instead, you could have bought that same stone for 80 pointer or something and would be the same measurement. So why would you pay for 1 carat when you get a small looking stones? So that's the reason why you can judge, by just look at, oh, it's SI1. G color, oh, I get it so much cheaper than this guy here. But it is not true, because it's cheap because there's a reason behind it usually. So that's what we do.
Education, educating the engagement to them.
Right, and then you have
family.
to compare apple to apple, orange to orange. You can't compare apple to orange. That wouldn't make sense.
Thank you, Nikki and Dan, for this education in diamonds and sapphires. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again for watching Real People, Real Matters. This is Diana Tulchinsky with the Onomoli store in Glenview. Thank you again.